Something just changed in NASCAR. A YouTuber lands a huge Polaris deal. And then one of the most powerful team owners in the sport finally reacts. But when Richard Childress and his team spoke out, this situation didn't calm down. It actually got more intense. Because now there's a real question being asked inside the NASCAR garage. Is Cleetus McFarland actually ready for this level? Or is everything happening way too fast? Make sure you watch this video till the end, because the full story is way more surprising than you think. If you enjoy NASCAR drama, real stories, and behind-the-scenes details like this, make sure you subscribe to NASCAR Nation News and like this video. I'm also trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so your support really helps. Because this situation is only getting bigger, and there's a lot more to come. Cleetus McFarland just made one of the biggest moves of his career. He recently signed a major multi-year partnership with Polaris, a deal that connects his entire brand, racing, content, and events with one of the biggest names in motorsports. This isn't just a small sponsorship. This is a full commitment. Polaris is now part of everything he does, from the Freedom Factory to his off-road content to his racing future. And that tells you one thing clearly. Cleetus is not just a YouTuber anymore. He's building a serious motorsports business. But at the same time, this deal has also put him under a much bigger spotlight. Now here's the part most people don't know. Cleetus didn't just randomly show up in NASCAR. This all started with a phone call. Ty Dillon, who races in the Cup Series and is also the grandson of Richard Childress, reached out to Cleetus after seeing his content online. He wanted to understand one thing. What does Cleetus actually want? And Cleetus gave a simple answer. He said he loves super speedways, and his dream is to race in the Daytona 500. That idea eventually made its way to Richard Childress Racing. But there was one important condition. Ty Dillon made it clear. They would only move forward if Cleetus stayed true to himself. They didn't want to change what made him popular. Because if the project stopped being fun, then it wouldn't work at all. And that's how this whole journey officially began. In early 2026, the deal became official. Cleetus signed on with Richard Childress Racing to run a limited number of races over a 2-year period. And the moment that news dropped, the NASCAR world reacted instantly. And not everyone was happy. Some big names spoke out. Kyle Petty said that internet personalities don't belong on the racetrack with professional drivers. Kyle Busch, who actually drives for RCR, also questioned the move. He pointed out the massive gap in experience, and even joked that his own young son might have more racing laps than Cleetus. Even people inside the garage, like spotters and analysts, started raising concerns. This wasn't just fans talking anymore. This was the NASCAR world saying, wait, is he really ready? Right after all the criticism, Cleetus didn't slow down. He did the opposite. He added more races. That's right. Instead of backing off, he expanded his NASCAR schedule with Richard Childress Racing. And one race in particular caught everyone's attention. Nashville. Cleetus is now set to return for the O'Reilly Auto Parts race, marking another official start with RCR. And this isn't just a random entry. This is a direct response to everything people have been saying. Because now, he's not just proving he can show up, he's trying to prove he belongs. Multiple reports confirm that this is part of a bigger plan. More races, more seat time, more development, step by step. And here's what makes this even more interesting. This wasn't forced by NASCAR. This wasn't just a sponsor push. This was a strategic move. RCR wants to see progress. NASCAR wants to see experience. And Cleetus, he wants to get to Daytona. But the only way to get there is to earn it. Then came the big moment. Rockingham. Cleetus was running 2 races in one day. First, the ARCA race. And surprisingly, That went really well. He kept the car clean, stayed out of trouble, and finished in the top 5. That was a huge moment. But then came the second race, and everything changed. In the main event, things got messy. Early in the race, he got loose in traffic, almost lost control, and dropped back quickly. Throughout the race, there were multiple spins, a penalty on pit road, and constant struggles with car control. In the end, he finished far behind the leaders. And after the race, even Cleetus admitted it. He called it the hardest thing he's ever done. But he also said something important. He didn't wreck anyone else, he didn't ruin anyone's race, and he brought the car home. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Because Richard Childress Racing didn't just celebrate, they were honest. Inside the team, the reaction was cautious. RCR's competition leadership admitted that Rockingham was a big step, and that it's a difficult track. They gave Cleetus credit for saving the car in some tough moments. But they also made something very clear. There were a lot of things they wanted to see. That didn't happen. They never got a proper pit stop done, and after early mistakes, the team actually told him to slow down and just finish the race. In other words, they went into survival mode. And then came the most important point. They basically said they would not be surprised if NASCAR wanted Cleetus to run more races before allowing him at high-speed tracks like Daytona or Talladega. That right there, that tells you everything. Even his own team knows he's still learning. And then the big decision came. NASCAR officially denied Cleetus approval to race at Talladega. The reason? He needs more experience, and even respected voices like Dale Earnhardt Jr. supported that decision. He said after watching Cleetus closely, he wasn't ready for those high-speed tracks yet. And honestly, that decision made sense. Because Talladega is not a place where you learn. It's a place where mistakes can be very serious. Now connect all of this back to the Polaris deal. Because this is where things get really interesting. On one side, you have a driver who is still developing. On the other side, you have a massive brand investing in him long-term. That creates pressure. Because now, this is not just about learning anymore. This is about proving that the investment makes sense. And at the same time, Cleetus is bringing something NASCAR cannot ignore. Viewership. When he raced, numbers went up. More fans tuned in. More attention came to the sport. And that's exactly why this situation is so complicated. So now everything comes down to one question. Can NASCAR balance this? Can they give Cleetus enough time to develop while still using his massive platform to grow the sport? Because rushing him could be risky, but holding him back too much could slow down something that clearly has potential. Right now, the plan is simple. More ARCA races, more learning, more experience, step by step. And through all of this, Cleetus himself seems focused. After running laps in Kansas, he said something simple. We're living the dream, and honestly, that says everything. While people debate, while critics question him, he's just focused on getting better. And maybe that's exactly what he needs right now. This story is far from over. Cleetus McFarland is not going anywhere. With a massive Polaris deal and support from Richard Childress Racing, this is only getting bigger. But now, everything comes down to performance. Because sooner or later, results will decide everything. And when that moment comes, we'll finally know, was this a bold move that changes NASCAR forever, or a risk that came too early?